For us, there's a reason why we're in this world. And that's because God created us for a certain purpose. It's a long discussion. We don't have the time to have that here, obviously, in discussion. But there's a purpose. If I have a watch, I will look at where it came from. Oh, it's a Citizen. It's a Rado. It's Raymond Wheel. Whatever, you know. And each company has a certain purpose, certain method, a certain style, where it doesn't go anywhere, it ends. When we have those kind of things, and when it doesn't work anymore, it's gone. But everything in the world we treat as though it has a purpose. What is the purpose of my hat? It's to cover my head. Purpose of my mask is to cover and protect me. Purpose of my phone is to be able to make calls and do other things. If that stops having its purpose, you're going to still keep the phone? You're going to throw it away. It no longer performs a function. So everything has a purpose. The carpet has a function. This stick here that has a purpose. Your jacket has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. But the human being has no purpose. The only purpose for a human being is just enjoy. That's the purpose. What a silly idea. Everything else you give a very particular purpose, and if it doesn't fulfill the purpose, you discard it. And now you're saying the human being has no purpose. When you look at things logically, it just doesn't make sense. Now, the second point I want to make, is that if you're living in a purely Muslim system, any examples of a purely Muslim system anywhere in the world? I would probably, it's difficult, right? I mean, Pakistan is more Muslim than India, I could say that, and more Muslim than Sri Lanka. But, mashallah, secularism, westernization is very effective there, as it is in Egypt and other places. But let's just say, if you were living in Medina Munawwara, right, if you were, or any other place, I think there are some places in the world like Mauritania, you're out in the deserts, just Muslim, nothing else. Bringing up a child there, this is the purpose I'm saying, it doesn't matter. Bringing up a child there is very easy. Why? Because he's living Islam, breathing Islam, seeing Islam, hearing Islam. That's all he does. He eats Islam, like his food is halal. There's no question of, is this halal or haram? Is this burger halal or haram? There's no question. Everybody, you don't even have to make an effort, but you will be Muslim. If a non-Muslim came there, they would follow the Muslim lifestyle. Very easy. No problem. Now you come to England, for example, or anywhere in the West, Norway, US, anywhere. And you have, so if you come from Sri Lanka, you have a Sri Lankan culture. Then you have the British culture that you're dealing with. You can't avoid it, British culture. And it's not necessarily bad. British culture is not all bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying just the culture, how many things we will be dealing with. So if you come from Pakistan, you'll have Pakistani culture. And even in fact, you'll have either Punjabi culture, or Saraiki culture, or Pathan culture. And that's Hink or Pashtun, and so on and so forth. It's very simple because every culture is different. And remember one thing, one of the biggest influences in your life, whether you realize it or not, is your culture. Is a culture, some culture or the other. It's extremely powerful. People will forsake their children because their culture said that they married outside their culture. That's why our culture is more stronger than my love for my child. People do that. People want to become religious. They want to start, maybe a woman is there, she doesn't wear hijab because her family members don't wear hijab. She wants to wear it, but the reason she can't is because she's scared of her culture. And that's not Pakistani culture or Indian culture or Sri Lanka, it's just her family culture. It's so powerful. Can you see? We all deal with this on some level. So now when you come to England, you have Pakistani culture, Sri Lankan culture, Indian culture, whatever. Somali culture, Sudanese culture, Egyptian, whatever. Then you have British culture. You have to deal with that as soon as you go outside your house, even inside your house, you're going to see it on TV and so on. And then, as a Muslim, you have Muslim culture. What is Muslim culture? Can we say Somali culture is Muslim culture? That all Pakistani culture is Muslim culture? All Indian Muslim culture is Muslim culture? Or Sri Lankan culture is Muslim? No. Not necessarily. Some of it is. Alhamdulillah. So, for a Muslim, it gets difficult. We've got British culture. We've got Pakistani culture or Sri Lankan culture. And we've got Islamic culture. Now, if you have come from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Egypt, wherever, Palestine, Algeria, you'll have some idea of what that culture is. Now, a child who's growing up here doesn't even know what culture he's following when he does something. Is this British? Is this Sri Lankan? Is this Islamic? Which one is it? Very confusing. He's seeing all sorts of different things outside. Can you see now why people who come from another country and they come here, it's a bit easier for them because they were brought up, maybe they were 10, 15, 20 years old when they came to this country. So they have at least some base. They've got children now and they want them to do everything according to their culture from there, from where they came from. Very difficult. Very difficult. Then you wonder why not. Why are you disobeying me? We're not disobeying you. We just haven't been brought up in that culture. I'm not giving justification for this. I'm just saying understand it, because if you don't understand it, you will have a fight. You will be frustrated. You will think they're being disobedient. It will start fires in the homes. And it has. I spoke to somebody recently and they said about husband and wife when it becomes irreconcilable. In some cultures, divorce is haram. In their culture, divorce is haram. In Islam, it's not haram. You see the difference? Do you guys know of cultures where divorce is haram? Meaning you don't do it, but stay until the end. Anybody know of any culture like that? You don't? There is some cultures like that. They won't let you divorce. Meaning eventually they will allow it, but it's like you do not divorce. Fight, but stay together. That wasn't the way with the Sahaba. It wasn't the way. I'm not encouraging divorce. I'm saying when it becomes irreconcilable, they still keep them together and say, fight forever. I deal with these issues. The husband and wife are no longer sleeping together. They're in different rooms for the last 5 years, but they're still together because nobody's allowing them to divorce. Doesn't matter, just stay together. Okay, separate, but don't divorce. It's like, come on, let her marry somebody else. They're okay with the men. The men can marry someone else, but not the women. One guy called me the other day, and he said his brother's brother passed away. So he had children and his wife, so he's been looking after them. And I said, and he wants to marry her now. So I said, and he said, my first wife is going to be against it. I said, look, this is a very bad idea. You don't want to destroy one family to do another one. What's the point? Why do you want to destroy one good family for another one? And I said, why didn't she marry somebody else? He said, they won't let her marry anyone. Why not? It's a culture. That's not Islamic culture. And we confuse our children like this. And then what a lot of people do, they actually tell their children, this is Islamic. You better listen to your parents, it's Islamic. And because of that, I have heard in the last at least 3 or 4 people, this is just what I've heard, what I know about. These children leave the faith because they see this as Islam, whereas it's not Islam. Right now, I know of 3 women who are living with non-Muslims. Married. Some of them with children. For the last, 5, 10, 15 years. I said, why? One woman called me and she had a mas'ala, a question about something simple. So I answered the question, and then as she carried on, she said that she's married to a non-Muslim. I said, this is strange. You're married to a non-Muslim, which is not valid. And you're asking about, like, is my salat proper or not? I said, ye kaisi baat hui? What is this like? This is really interesting. What's going on here? She said, what do I tell you? She said, I was forced marriage to my cousin or something. And I left, and I just married someone. And now I'm trying to come back. Lots of cases like this. People are not happy. if you do this. And it's extremely difficult. For example, so I spoke to somebody and they said that the husband and wife have a problem, but they won't let them divorce. And they give you all these examples. Then they talk about one person. He said to me, there was a case about somebody who, the parents, they're elderly now, who's going to look after them? Who's going to look after them? So I said, well, inshallah, maybe, your daughter-in-law. He said, no, I must get a daughter-in-law from back home. He said, why? He said, because the women from here don't look after their in-laws. And the women from back home do. I said, that's completely wrong. Right? Wrong for a different reason, I'm saying. I said, tell me, and I know his family, so I said, tell me in your family. Because most of the daughter-in-laws in his brother's children and sister's children, most of them are from the UK. Some, 3, are from India. So I said, just look at your family. Those who have bought daughter-in-laws from outside, are any of them looking after their mother-in-laws and father-in-laws? None of them are. They all live separately. So this idea that a woman coming from Pakistan or India or Bangladesh or something is going to look after is not necessary. Things have changed there as well. The culture has changed even in Muslim countries. They can, they should, they'll get reward for it. But I'm saying, look at reality. So he says, what do we do now? I said, you know what the problem is your attitude needs to change. The attitude of the mother-in-law needs to change. But the reason why mother-in-laws, older ones who have come from another country, why it doesn't change is because that's how they were treated. By their mother-in-law. And that mother-in-law was probably treated by her mother-in-law so the last 200-300 years, this is how it was. So you're going to have to do the same thing, they think. You need to change that. You will treat your daughter-in-law well, so she'll want to stay with you. Or your own daughter well, so she'll want to stay and do. There's a lot of good women out there, a lot of good men out there. So, our time is up, but I want us to really think about this. Because this is where we are now, this is our country, and this is where we are bringing up the next generation. Let us not make it further. Let's understand where they're coming from. Let us understand their challenges. My children do not understand Indian culture. I do, even though I was born here because I've been back so many times. But as we move along, they don't. In fact, some of our children don't even know how to speak the language anymore. They speak English. So we can't force them to be, as long as it's Islamic, it's okay. You have to think about it. Now remember, culture is not a bad thing. There's just bad elements in culture. But culture is a wonderful thing. There's wonderful things in the Indian culture, in the Pakistani culture, in the Sri Lankan culture, in the Somali culture, and there's wonderful things in the British culture. Islam tells you to take the best. That's how Islam tells you to do it. For that we need education and knowledge. For that you have to consult and you have to learn more. Inshallah, next time I come, that's what I will discuss, inshallah. But this is something for us to really think about, so that inshallah we can make it easy for the coming generations and make that investment. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah for the inspiring sermon of the Sheikh. It's a great blessing for our congregation to have the sermon from the world-renowned scholar Sheikh Mangera in our pulpit today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a tawfiq to practice what he said. Today, our youth are in a critical juncture at a dilemma about their faith. They don't know what to do and where to go to find the solution for their questions and doubts arise their mind. Some of them don't believe in religion. Last week, Sheikh Abdurrahman told that he met a youngster in a university. He don't believe in Prophet, but he was a Hafiz. This is the state of our youth today. This is an age and time to prepare the British educated Islamic scholars to face the challenges ahead, to our youth, and to guide the right path and prepare them for to take the deen four corners of the world to the light of Hidayah. Inshallah, Islamic Education Center will be the beacon of the British Muslims, and we hope we will be the world-class, it will be the world-class Islamic center to create the torch-bearing, responsible UK Islamic scholars in the UK and the West. Imagine how many millions of people benefited from the Imam Bukhari and Muslim, all of the Imams. How many millions of people pray behind the Sheikh Sudais and all other Imams. And how many millions of people benefiting from the Sheikh Mufti Mank and all other Muftis around the world. Remember, all those rewards will go to their teachers and the institution which brought them up to this state. You don't know how many scholars will become in our education center. Don't take it easy. All those rewards will be in your book of deed. Alhamdulillah, the great mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your matchless support, we will be able to reach our 70% of our target of 100 campaign project. Please see the details in front of the wall of the masjid. Please sign up to join to get the reward and be the part of that. We need another 30 adults to raise 10,000 pounds and nearly 50 youths to 2,500 pounds to collect within 365 days. They can collect from their family and friends and known circles utilizing various tools. Our management and the fundraising team will support them to achieve their targets. For the lucky, 3 fundraisers will be awarded with the free Umrah packages, and their names will be displayed on the wall of the new center, and their families will get the priority seats and the discount fee as well. Remember, the COVID is not gone. It is a matter of life and death. Although some COVID restrictions are eased, but still social distancing and the face covering are in place. New parking restriction enforcement are placed around the masjid from this month, almost whole day. Please park away and walk to the masjid and get the rewards. Inshallah, our management has decided to reopen our Al-Falah Madrasa in the masjid, weekday classes on Monday 14th and weekend classes on 19th of this month. Please contact the office for new admission. Tomorrow, Westbourne and Belmont Circle Medical Center are open for walk-in vaccination, anyone over 18, from 8:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Jazakallah khair. And also, Brother Luqman Haris has written a book, In the Search of Our Roots. The books are available to outside, inshallah. 10 pound each book, inshallah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه مباركا عليه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى جل جلاله وعم نواله، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: إن الدين عند الله الإسلام. وقال تعالى: وأنتم الأعلون إن كنتم مؤمنين. وقال الحسن البصري رحمه الله في صفة المؤمن: المؤمن في الصلاة خاشع وإلى الركوع سارع. المؤمن قوله شفاء، وصبره تقى، وسكوته فكرة، ونظرته عبرة. المؤمن يخالط العلماء ليعلم، ويسكت بينهم ليسلم، ويتكلم ليغنم. المؤمن إن أحسن استبشر، وإن أساء استغفر، وإن عتب استعتب، وإن سفه عليه حلم، وإن ظلم صبر، وإن جير عليه عدل. لا يتعوذ بغير الله، ولا يستعين إلا بالله. المؤمن وقور في الملا، شكور في الخلا، قانع بالرزق، حامد على الرخاء، صابر على البلاء. إن جلس مع الغافلين كتب من الذاكرين، وإن جلس مع الذاكرين كتب من المستغفرين. هكذا كان أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، الأول فالأول حتى لحقوا بالله عز وجل. وهكذا كان المسلمون من سلفكم الصالح، وإنما غير بكم لما غيرتم. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم، وإذا أراد الله بقوم سوءا فلا مرد له، وما لهم من دونه من وال. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له، ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك، وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي، من أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم، ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم. وقال: خير أمتي قرني، ثم الذين يلونهم، ثم الذين يلونهم. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت، وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت، فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت. تباركت ربنا وتعاليت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان، اللهم انصر إخواننا في سبيلك، اللهم احفظ المسلمين في كل أنحاء العالم من البلاء والآفات والمحن. اللهم جنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم وفقنا لما تحبه وترضى من القول والفعل والعمل والنية. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى، وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي، يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم، وادعوه يستجب لكم، ولذكر الله أكبر.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
While we're not standing together, but try to make sure that you're parallel to one another, in line with your heels with one another. استووا واعتدلوا يرحمكم الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.